What are you doing?
Don't you dare, ref. That's he got the ball. Good evening, Spurs fans right around the world, and happy Thanksgiving to the Americans that are tuning in as well. Big day for you. Hopefully you all have a great day. But welcome back to the Irish Hotspur with your boy Dave, Soren, Drew, and Dermatron this evening as we build up tonight's European game against Roma, European giants, which I absolutely cannot wait. This is what makes European football so special when two big teams collide. I think it's the two teams with the biggest coefficient in the European rankings coming head-to-head tonight, which I'm absolutely excited about. First, we'll just drop into some team news and everything you guys need to know. We'll go around the panel, and then we'll get into it and ask how everybody is. And we've got a lot to discuss tonight, especially Big Vic coming in for Vicario. We really do need a good run from from Fraser Forster this evening. And in general, 10 games up until the January transfer window. So we really need him to really perform. So we're under pressure right now, but we are at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. The referee is Glenn Nyberg from Sweden. In the VAR, it is Paul van Bokel from Netherlands. And if you want to watch the game in the UK and Ireland, it is on TNT Sports. In the USA, it's on Paramount Plus. And in Australia, it is on Stan Sport. Injury news. Well, I mean, they just keep piling up for Tottenham. Van de Ven out with the hamstring. Udebur out with his hamstring. Richarlison out with his hamstring. Romero's out with his foot. Mikey Moore is recovering from illness. Will Lancashire is suspended for tonight's game after picking up a red last time out. Vicario is the latest one to the list. Out with his ankle, and Reguilon and Jed Spence, of course, not registered, so they cannot play in Europe for Tottenham. Whilst Roma are only missing two players in Sally Makers and Shomurodov as well. Now, Roma, it must be said, they really do need the points tonight. They really need to start climbing up the table. When I've looked at a lot of their fixtures, they are in turmoil at the minute. They've had 3 managers, started off the season with Jose Mourinho. Now they had Daniel De Rossi, and recently replaced by Claudio Ranieri, who actually has a good record against Tottenham from his time managing against us. So they are in a bit of turmoil. They are there for the taking, but it is not going to be an easy game. We know Ranieri's football. He sits back, looks to soak up, and then hit us on the counter, and many would argue it's Tottenham's kryptonite. So we're expecting a fascinating game tonight. But saying that, it's a must-win for Tottenham. That loss to Galatasaray, it leaves us 7th. If we want to avoid going into the extra round, we really need to finish inside that top 8. And with 2 away fixtures on the horizon in terms of, I think it's Rangers and Hoffenheim, a win is a must here this evening, just to make our life a little bit easier. We'll go around the panel. We'll find out how everybody is. We'll welcome some people in and we'll crack on. Soren, thank you very much for joining us this evening, my man. Really appreciate it. Are you excited for tonight's game? We are hosting European giants Roma. It's moments like these that make European football special, right?
I'm not really bothered, to be honest with you. You know, we're going to lose. Get Levy out, get Ange out, sack the board. I've just had enough. Can't even get excited for tonight. Sorry, just move on. On you Spurs. Of course we're excited. You know, it's Europe. What more do we want? We're against a good team. Let's not pretend that, you know, Ranieri's a good manager. Look what he did with Leicester. But yeah, all good, really excited, and coming off the back of a 4-0 win against City, what more can we want as Tottenham fans?
Oh, 100%, exactly. Exciting times. We absolutely steamrolled them. What annoys me after the City game, the narrative was more around Man City actually rather than how good Tottenham were, which really annoyed me to a certain degree. But you're right, we head into this game with a lot of confidence, and I'm super excited to see whether we can continue that or not. We'll head down to you, Drew. Drew, how are you this evening? And look, Spurs delivered the standout performance of the Postecoglou era with a dominant 4-0 victory over Man City at the Etihad Stadium at the weekend. Do you believe the City win has raised expectations too high for tonight's game? Because, like Soren alluded to, we are off the back of a very good performance against Man City. Many are saying it's the best of the Postecoglou era. Or is this the perfect chance for Spurs to prove that they can bring consistency, especially with it being on the big stage, the European stage?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think we need to start, you know, looking more towards that word consistency, right? Well, I think we're all a little bit fed up. I think even the players and the manager look like they're fed up with the up and down, the inconsistency of, you know, being 2-0 up against Brighton, the shocker against Crystal Palace, you know, those sorts of things. So, by the same token, just to reiterate, you know, what Ange said, you know, within a week, you don't climb mountains and then fall into valleys I don't know, that's not his exact words, but those, you know, that sort of thing. You can't go from one extreme to another. We've still got quite a lot of players out. Obviously, Big Vic being injured during the week, or being injured last week, and us finding out about it. I mean, when I first heard about it, I was deflated, to say the least. And you know, I don't want to say the season's over, but the fact that we're in the position we are with the goalkeepers, it just baffles me. But I'm sure we'll get into that. As for tonight, looking forward to it. Roma have been pretty terrible the last few weeks. They've let in as many goals, you know, or they've let in 3 goals a couple of times, 5 goals one time, but they have actually scored a few. So we'll have to be on our game tonight, but it's at home under the lights. And I can't wait, boys. Let's go. And
Lily White, all white
chat.
under the lights. Absolutely
Exactly,
super excited.
exactly.
I really cannot wait. It's what it's all about.
Exactly.
And you know what?
You know, big up to everyone in the chat. Sorry, quick big up to everyone in the chat. Smash a like. Looking forward to the chat tonight.
No, look, hopefully it'll be a good discussion. I do my best to put some genuine good questions together about the build up to the game and stuff like that. But, you know, anyone that might look at it and go, oh, you boys are getting way too overexcited for European football. I spent many of my childhood with Tottenham not having European football. So, you know, I'm just glad that it is back. And I'm glad we're actually participating in midweek football where we didn't last year. It was an absolute ball ache. But Dermo, how are you this evening, my man? How are you keeping? You excited?
How am I? Yeah, right. Yeah, on that point, yeah. I'm fine, by the way. for Soren saying he wants Levy out, you may get your wish. I'm hearing some big news, which I'm checking on it. You may be getting, people don't want Levy out, maybe getting their wish.
I don't want Levy out.
No, but there is something. I've just got a load of news on my WhatsApp page, and I tell you one thing. I'm just reading it now. We're in for a shocker. Something big is happening, and people are going to be blown over. Tonight, Roma are not giants of European football. Dave, what are you on about? Giants of European football? No, they're not. Roma can't even get a win in the Serie A, and they expect they're going to rock up to our place and win tonight. Are you having a laugh?
They reached the semi-finals last year, Dermo.
Yeah, so did Mr. Blobby. Got on up Christmas #1 and back in the 90s. Doesn't mean they're a major force in European football. Roma, who's Roma? Spurs are the giants of European football. We're the ones that have won it twice in 72 and 84. We're the ones that are the kings of White Hart Lane. We're going to rock tonight. I don't care if we've got Forster or Tony Blair or Donald Trump in goal. We're going to win tonight, and we're going to win well because we're Tottenham Hotspur. All white, as Dave says, lily white, under the lights. Spurs are going to win.
Let's go.
I'm really excited to see what we can do tonight. Look, I think Roma are European giants. They did make European semi-final under Jose Mourinho last year. I think it's going to be an absolute spectacle. Look, like I said, a lot of Spurs fans are coming into this with expectation off the back of the City result. And the big question is, does Postecoglou go at the same team to build momentum, or does he make changes given the injury crisis? Because there's an argument for both, you know. Galatasaray, we made changes. We got slapped by Ipswich at the weekend. So, it is a conversation that we'll have to delve into. But look, let's welcome some people in. Let's see who's with us, and then let's crack on. So, we have Adrian Schrocka in with us, Spurs diehards. Good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. Great to see Joe in the house as well. Hopefully you're keeping well. Stevie Fraser, my man. Big up, lads. Want to be confident, but that usually doesn't go well. Hopefully we'll get it done. Come on, you Spurs. Do you know what? I've sort of adopted a new policy supporting Spurs. Rather than get confident or arrogant, I think I just go into the game, expect the worst, and then usually when I've done that, the best happens. So that's the way I'm going to do it from now on. Stevie Fraser, good to see you, sir. Martin Knightsbridge, great to see you, my man. Evening, lads. It's true. Spurs have Davy Boy in goal tonight as new replacement for Big Vic. Look, I think they'd be calling me Big Dave if you put me in goal. If anyone remembers that goalkeeper for our team, he was like famous. He used to sit in the stand and eat pies when he wasn't playing. That's more like who I would be, Martin Knightsbridge, to be brutally honest with you. We've got the granddad in goals today in Fraser Forster. But good to see you, Martin. Martin, hey, you're probably the same age as Fraser Forster. You could glove up, lad. We've got Thomas in the house. Big up, everyone. Let's go for 3 points. Come on, you Spurs. Great to see you, Thomas. We also have J-Mac, big up, Dave, Jacko, Stevie Fraser, and Drew. That's Soren up there, my man. That's not Stevie Fraser. Big up, J-Mac. Good to see you. Berbatov's halftime smoke. Roma going down big time tonight. Absolutely love that. We also have Chris Baum in the house. Up, lads, and chat. How you all doing? Got to say, watching the shitty collapse Saturday at Trinity Pub with the Dublin fan club was a blast. Great setup. Big up. If you are local there, well, look, hopefully you enjoyed yourself. I know I speak to Adam William Cale, and there's a few others that have been in there that I spoke to over the time, and they do get a decent enough crowd that meet up for games and that up there. They actually do have enjoyed themselves. So I'm glad that you popped in and you had a great time, my man. Great win as well, by the way. I'd say the drinks were flowing after that one. We've got KDOS96. Big up, lads. Keen for the game. I'm absolutely buzzing for this game tonight. We've got Derek Hutchison. Big up, Dave and Soren. Great to see you, Derek. We also have Wayne Bonner in the house. Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all well. Going for a 2-0 win tonight, or more realistically, 67 million nil to Spurs. Big up, Wayne. Hopefully you're keeping well. We've got David Granola in the house. Evening, gents. Jack joining us for the watch-along. Jack will be with us for the watch-along. It's Thanksgiving over there, so I said, look, Jack, go and have breakfast with the family. It's all about food and family time, so go and do that. I said, you don't even have to do the watch-along tonight, but Jack was like, but no, I want to do it. So that's the commitment, and I absolutely love it. Big up, David. Big up, Ribsy. I thought you were coming on to join us, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well, though. Good to see you, sir. We've got Alpesh Patel. Good evening, Dave and Jack. Hope we win tonight. It's going to be tough. I am leaving for the game. Grab something to eat. 3 points. Bloody cold out there. Come on, Spurs. Well, look, enjoy yourself. What I would say is wrap up warm. If it's something like the weather over here, it's absolutely freezing out there, my man. What food are you going to get? Recommend somewhere along the high street for if there's anybody else tuning in. Go, my man. Big up, Alpesh. Derek Hutchinson in the house. Big up, Drew Dermott. 4-1 Spurs tonight. Come on, you Spurs. Great to see you, Del Boy. We have Kev G. Ranieri Masterclass. You just know it. Look, I hope not. I hope not. Darius in the house. Big up, Dave, Jack, and everyone else in the chat. Come on, you Spurs. 4-1. Hope for Forster Masterclass tonight. That's more what we're hoping for rather than what Kev G put in there. Kempston Spurs evening, Dave, once again sitting on the M25 in traffic, Potter's Bar en route to the match. Oh, you're always stuck in traffic, my man. I think you're going to have to start hiring a helicopter or something to go to these games, to be quite honest with you, or find another alternative, because it seems like every week now you're stuck in traffic. It's not good enough, but it is Christmas time, so it's probably busy. We've got Kaylee Davies. Morning all. Great to see you, Kaylee. Hopefully you're keeping well in Seattle. Scotty Heinem in the building. Big up to all. Come on, you Spurs. Great to see you, Scotty. We have Thomas. Finally, Dave. I've been away way too long now. Love this show. Come on, you Spurs. Hopefully it wasn't prison or something, Thomas. Hopefully it was by choice, tuning out from all the negativity, my man. Big up, Thomas. Great to see you in the house. We've got John Lee. I just hope Forster has a good game and not make mistakes. Look, we're all the same. Look, Galatasaray doesn't exactly fill me with confidence, and I just worry about, could it be a Lloris situation where just he's still got the brain, but just doesn't have the agility, the speed to go with it anymore. Look, let's wait and see. What I will say is he did have a long injury layoff before he's come into them few games this season, but we've got to get one of them up to speed and up to match fitness and sharpness. So let's see who it is. We've got Matty Bynum in the house. Big up, Dave Jack. Roma will bring a good game tonight and try to make it tough for the lads, but the high from the city is going to still be running through Spurs veins. Come on, you Spurs. We never stop. That we don't, Matty boy. We have Daniel Harris. Big up, Teen Harris, checking in. I'm at the game tonight. You can never predict the win with Spurs, but we must be favourites. Look, I'm sure we're favourites. We're home. Roma are in turmoil at the minute. Like I spoke about, 3 different managers. I think they're way down in Serie A in the bottom half of the table. They're bottom half of this Europa League as well. So, but look, they're going to be scrapping for 3 points. And Italian teams, they're always very, very good defensively and hard to beat. So it's going to be a difficult evening. Big up, Theo Isaac. Great to see you. And we've also got Reckless Madness Al as well. Great to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well, sir. By the way, when are you going to play pro clubs with us? I feel like you're delaying the initiation song, my man. Then we've got Kaylee Davies, member for 16 months. Happy Thanksgiving to Americans who are tuned in. And look, that's from every single one of us here on the panel. Happy Thanksgiving to you all, and enjoy your special day. We'll just say welcome in a couple more and we'll crack on. We've also got Simon Coley in the house. Good to see you, Ange, in time. We've got Rooty too. Great to see you, Ange. We'll need to adjust the defence. Look, that is actually a question that I have. Will we have to make allowances for having someone like Forster rather than Vicario, who is a bit more agile, a bit more speedy off the line and more of a sweeper keeper? That is something we will talk about, my man. Absolutely great point, Rooty too. SDFC, Benny. We also have Woodsy TV or Woodsy Hotspur now. Jamie, my man. Good to see you. Timmy as well. Bjorn Wendell, great to see you. It's great to see all the excitement, all the Spurs fans in the house. Paddy Harnett afternoon, folks. Tonight won't be easy, that's for sure, but will be a test again like last weekend up the Strawberry Pickers. We've also got John Fitzpatrick. Great to see you. Lee Moody as well. Hopefully you're keeping well. And then who else have we got here? We've got Bob Down Under. Great to see you, my man. Chris Antonio. Rob Frank as well. Good to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well. We've got PHE family. Big up everyone. Andrew said he's not going to sign a keeper in the winter. Do you think this is true? We're going to have a little discussion on that in a little bit as well, because I think there's a lot of outrage over not, and I just think it's good man management personally. Big up DJ Samuel. Great to see you. And then we also have Lumpy Battery, but isn't Ange a woman's name? Look, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's 2024 now. It can be either way, whatever way you want it to go, my man. So it really doesn't matter anymore. It's 2024, isn't it? But look, let's keep it moving. But big on Lumpy Bats. We really appreciate the support. Drew, Tottenham, as I mentioned, we are aiming to secure a top 8 spot and avoid the tournament's extra round. We currently sit in 7th. How vital is it for Spurs to maximise their home advantage tonight against Roma to ensure that we're in a strong position ahead of our difficult away trips to Rangers and Hoffenheim, which are the next 2 games up?
Yeah, man, I'm hesitant to say anything because I feel like I jinxed this fucking club, because every time I think we're going to wallop somebody, we end up not doing so well, because I said we'd win against Palace, we'd win against Ipswich, although they're pretty, they're easy to call and you think that we should. But Yeah, as far as Europe, man, we need to be up that table as far as we possibly can, because I don't think, given the situation with the squad, especially now Vicario out, that we can afford to play those 2 extra games in January without forfeiting something else. Do you know what I mean? Those 2 games are going to mean, I think, potentially having to, go with a lesser squad in either the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup, and then also, league's the bread and butter, and you really want to be up there as far as possible.
100%. And look, if our injury crisis worsen, you'd rather have that buffer than not as well. So, look, I think it's very important to sort of hammer home the home advantage tonight. And then, Dermot, what do you think of the 5,000 singing section that they're bringing in there for tonight's game to sort of try and generate the atmosphere tonight?
I think it's a good idea. I think it reminds me back to when it was all standing. As a kid going to the grounds, the atmosphere was always electric. I think all-seater, rightly so, after Hillsborough, to be fair, and I think it's right that we went all-seater. I think it's made it a little bit less. Atmosphere's gone down a little bit. But at White Hart Lane, before they built the new stadium, the atmosphere was always electric there. Since they built the new stadium, we've lost that little something that was in that ground. But yeah, I think it's a good idea. I've got no problem with it. If it's going to get the atmosphere going and the fans behind the team, then, albeit we went to the AC Milan, Dave, and stood in the South Stand, and the atmosphere that night, you would admit it yourself, was a bit muted. But the players feed off the crowd, and the crowd feed off the players. So it's sort of a two-way relationship. But yeah, why not? I'm up for something new. Fair play. Look, good idea.
I think it's absolutely incredible, and fair play. I think it's Song Sheets, THSE Flags, and another group that are organising, and they're trying to get a singing section going. And fair play to them. And they have brought out one of our European songs. I think we might hear it tonight. Do you want me to sing it? Look, I suppose, why not? Pointing up to the spirit in the sky. Oh no, wait there. What is it? Oh yeah. Pointing up to the spirit in the sky. I want one more before I die. Like Anderlecht in 84. We're heading to Bilbao to win one more. So I think you're going to hear that bellowing out of the stands tonight. I think it's an absolute belter. So that will be our European song along this journey. And I'm absolutely buzzing. I think it's an absolute cracker. But Soren, up to you, my man. Postecoglou has shown a willingness to rotate his squad in European competitions, but after a recent 3-2 loss to Galatasaray, should he feel his strongest possible lineup against Roma tonight, or should he stick with rotation considering the ongoing injury crisis and the demanding fixture schedule ahead?
Personally, I'd like to see the strongest team we can put in there. And I think there's the opportunity to maybe put 1/2 of the younger ones in there, but certainly no more than that. I mean, for me, we've got to go strong, get the 3 points on the table again. We need that cushion for this Europe. We've got to keep this European dream alive. And I think a lot of it is going to be forced, obviously, because of all the injuries and suspensions and things like that. But for me, yeah, tonight is not a night to mess about with the team. Get the strongest possible one out there, and let's just get the 3 points. Get this Roma team beat early. Let's get out there, couple of goals in the net, and then start playing with the team. That's for me. But look, who knows what he's going to do? Who knows?
Look, for me, I think I would expect a little bit of rotation tonight heading into the game. Personally, I think it's only right that he looks to manage minutes. I know against Galatasaray, and then, we rest the players for a weekend, we got absolutely turned over by Ipswich. Some people would say, no, you got to go with your strongest team tonight, build that momentum, and just take each game as it comes. But for me, I would like to rest some of our better players of the team, some of the more influential players in the team tonight, just to ensure that we don't get them injured, because if they do go missing, we're just going to feel it even more. But Dermot, should Postecoglou prioritise fielding the strongest lineup against Roma to ensure progression in Europa League, or is it just more important to manage the players' fitness for the long term, especially given our injury crisis?
No, field the strongest team you can. we need to get qualification for the next round. I agree with you. We don't need the 2 games in January. And if we get a win tonight and probably beat Rangers, which we will do, and probably we've got a couple of easy games at the end. I think we will win tonight will more or less put us into the round of 16. So it's important. Then you can rest your players then for the final couple of games of the league phase. But it's important tonight. Play your strongest team. Keep the confidence going from Saturday. Keep the same back 5. Okay, Vicario is injured, but I would start with the same back 4. Keep the confidence together, because the more they play together, the more they're going to get used together. So if they have to be brought in later in the season, Davies and Rudu, they have a connection. They already have chemistry working together. And they're used to Porro and Udogi. So it's important we go with our strongest lineup. Keep the chemistry going. Keep the momentum going. Keep the hunger going. And then, it should see us fine at the business end of the season, when hopefully we're in semi-finals for the European, finals for the League Cup, late stages of the FA Cup, fighting for a Champions League place in the league, and we get suspensions or we get injuries. We know the players that are coming in, they're going to gel together. So it's really important we stick with a strong lineup tonight.
Chat, let us know where you're at with it, people tuning in. What do you think Postecoglou should do? Because, we've got a lot of games between now and Christmas, and I do think there has to be an element of managers managing players' minutes so that they don't pick up injuries due to too many minutes in their legs and stuff like that. Drew, where are you at with it? Because, with the current injury crisis, is it worth risking key players tonight? Because even if you do lose, which is not ideal, right? I agree with Dermot. I do want the win tonight. We've got 2 away games coming up, but if you win tonight, it probably allows you, you've got Rangers coming in the thick of December, we've got other bigger games around it. So it sort of does allow you to make a lot of rotations for that game in and around the hectic fixture schedule. So where are you at with it tonight? Because some would say squad rotation takes precedence to avoid worsening the injury situation.
Yeah, and not only that, it's all about, I think Ange brought it up in, I don't know if it was last press conference, but a press conference recently, where he mentioned the fact that he's been able to bring these guys in and they've been able to have more of a connection because of the minutes that they're being able to play together. So I feel like the rotation's good. I'm at the point now, I think we're all, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I feel like the last few years, all we've asked for is for the players coming in off the bench to not be such a drop-off from the first 11. So we can't now complain, or we can't now be fussy when he decides to rotate the team. And on top of the fact that we do have those injuries, I feel like the back 4, back 5 kind of picks itself tonight, right? We don't really have many options. So I don't know. I'm of the mind that I think if you look over the vast history of the last sort of probably 20 years, the teams that have really gone on and won things have been teams that have put out the strongest side until they didn't need to put out the strongest side. Do you know what I mean? I'm talking the likes of, your Man Uniteds and your Chelseas and things like that, and your Man Cities that have, when it comes to qualification in cups, they've qualified to the point where, they've had pretty much their strongest team until they've been able to have a day's grace or a game's grace. Do you know what I mean? So I think we need to start having that sort of mentality. And I think Ange is clever enough. And, I hate to say it because our medical team, I still think, are pretty awful. But you would like to think if there's anybody there that is pushing it, they would have those players marked and they would get, the applicable 15, 20 minutes where necessary. But I don't think, this is professional football. No one's going to get pushed beyond their limits. So we're just going to, I think it's just the way the game's going. When you add 2 more subs and you've now got 5, and with Ange playing the football that he plays, I think on a perfect day, if everybody was fit, you would still see changes 65, 70 minutes in because of the type of football that he wants to play. It gasses players out when you play 90 back to back to back,
No, 100%. And look, it'd be interesting to see what Postecoglou does decide to do today, because I think if he does make changes and the result doesn't go our way, I think there'll be a lot more pressure on him. I think the narrative around Tottenham changes again. I think it's very, very important to try and pick up that win tonight, just to sort of bring that consistency, just to calm everything down a little bit around Tottenham Hotspur, especially around this injury crisis. Hopefully pull people together and unite behind this injury crisis and sort of push forward. But at the same time, I'm not naive to know that when you're playing Thursday, Sunday, there has to become an element where you do have to protect some of your better players, and you almost have to pick and choose what games you want them to be involved in, where they're going to make the difference. And look, I think someone said it in the chat, it's going to be a true test of our squad. But let's take a couple of comments from the chat. Let's see what they're saying. We have Woodsy Hotspur. I think he goes strong tonight. Get that top 8 locked down, then take the last couple of fixtures easy. Soren, you're nodding your head. You agree with that?
The first part, yeah, I think he has to go strong. I'm not sure about taking the last couple of fixtures easy, but certainly need to go strong tonight. Certainly do. I mean, for me, it's just one of those where we've just come off a massive win against City. We just need that confidence, and like you said, get this team playing together, get them used to playing against each other, or with each other, should I say? And yeah, for me, it's a no-brainer. But look, I'm not the manager, so
yeah. Well, it'll be like I said, it'll be very interesting to see what he does. Very, very interesting. We've got Monday.
I think the ideal scenario, Dave, would be not necessarily take it easy, but if you think to yourself, Vicario is going to be out for a while, and we've still got 8 to 10 games in December. You really like to think if we can maybe if we can qualify for that, I think it puts us in a better position goalkeeper wise, because you got to think Brandon Austin's got to be on the bench, right? So he's going to have a bit more of a taste of being a number 2. And if you don't have to win the last game, you can maybe stick him in and give him, because that's my concern. Do you know what I mean? I don't think you go out, the club's not going to go out in January and buy, I just don't see him going out and buying a ready-made keeper. So, I think those are the things we got to be looking at, and we got to try and take our wins where we can, with that that situation.
Well, look, we're gonna go and get into the goalkeeper situation, because Postecoglou did say that the club ain't gonna go into the January market to buy one. But I just feel like he's doing good man management. And we're gonna get onto the goalkeeper situation next, because it is something that a lot of people do want to talk about. Big up Mungie 32. He says full strength tonight. We also have Rooty 2. If we win the Europa League, we get Champions League next season. Our best chance of doing so, in my opinion. So keep a strong team tonight. We have Tony in the house, and he says, give a few kids a run out. We have, who else have we got here? We've got Woodsy Hotspur playing the next 4 weeks, Thursday, Sunday. This squad is about to be tested to the limit. You're absolutely spot on there. Jave Keaveney says, hoping Gray gets a start in midfield. Do you know what? I just don't think he will tonight, not with Bentancur coming in. Although, if he does play Porro and he plays a Dozy, which he does tend to sort of rest one of them in Europe, then there is an opportunity for Gray to play in midfield. But I think it will be Bentancur that'll come in there tonight. Again, another discussion we will have. And then we also have the multi-channel hope to see Bentancur play. So a lot of mixed feelings from the fans heading into tonight's game. And then J-Mac says, hope the players realise a performance like Sunday just can't be a one-off. Got to bring that levels for every game. No, 100%. And it can't just be the first 11 that played Sunday either. It has to be all the guys coming in on the periphery, looking for minutes in games like tonight. But they also have to come with that intensity and start adding to what we're doing. They have to start building that trust, in order for us to build out this squad. These players have to start being able to be relied on, be trusted. That's all part of building a squad. So, like I said, be interested to see what Postecoglou does decide tonight, because if he does change it up, I think everyone's going to ask why. I think most people from the consensus, people want him to go with the strongest available lineup tonight, regardless of injuries and stuff like that. So I think there will be a massive meltdown if he doesn't. But look, let's get into the goalkeeper situation. Where are we? So, look, we'll start with you on this one, Soren. Vicario is the latest Spurs player sidelined after undergoing surgery for a fractured ankle, ruling him out for several months. How significant is the blow of losing Vicario? Do you think the team can cope without him, especially considering his injury comes at such a crucial stage of Tottenham's season? Can Spurs maintain their form without him, do you think?
First of all, I'm hoping it's weeks and not several months. Look,
well, 8 weeks is several months, isn't it?
8 weeks is not several months, no, Dave. Sorry, it's a couple of months. Look, it's the one injury that none of us wanted. It's the scary one. The only hope I have is Ange changes his tactics from that high line, because I think Forster can do a job for us, and we're going to have to trust him. But let's not get on his back tonight if it doesn't go. We've got to give him a game or two to get settled in. That's why I also think we need to keep that back four as it is. But just to sort of, I'm pretty sure when Ange was talking about the goalkeeper situation, it was we're not going to sign a free agent or something. I don't think he's necessarily said we are not signing a goalkeeper, but what's he meant to say? If he comes out and says, oh yeah, we're definitely going to sign a goalkeeper, then he's sure he's got no faith in Forster, which then puts him on the back foot. So I don't understand the fallout from a manager coming out and backing one of his players that he knows he's got to play. I just think, some people, what do you want? And for me, if I was Forster and my manager came out and said, yeah, I've got no confidence in you, what are you going to do? You're going to go into this match thinking, well, sod it. He's replacing me straight away. So I think Ange said the right thing. Whether that's the truth or not, we don't know. We won't know till January. But look, by the time January comes and we're into the window and we're looking, and by the time we've signed somebody on the last day of the transfer window, Vicario's nearly back anyway. So what's the point? But no, look, let's get behind Forster tonight. Let's hope he does a good job and just keep that. I mean, it's as much to do with the defence as what it is with him, because if that defence is solid and that midfield is solid, then it gives him a better chance of keeping a clean sheet. So, look, is our goalkeeper tonight? Well, he might be our goalkeeper tonight. I mean, we don't know he's starting. So,
do you think Postecoglou could throw a surprising goal for someone like a Brandon Austin? Because, Soren, he's a name that I keep being hearing, people banding him about. But realistically, he's only ever played preseason for Tottenham. His only experience in proper football is out in the MLS for the Orlando Pirates seasons ago. He's not that experienced at all. Do you think Postecoglou could throw a surprise and bring him in?
I would be quite surprised tonight, because knowing the fact we've got to play Forster probably in the league, to me tonight he starts just to give him that confidence, hopefully. I'd be quite surprised if he plays Austin. But look, if he does, he does. And, we've all sat here on previous shows saying, oh, yeah, we all want Vicario. The team news has come out and it's been Forster. And it's like, what the hell's going on? So I kind of look at this now and just think, you know what? He just doesn't surprise me, whatever he does, because there will be a surprise tonight. I'll be very surprised if it is Forster, but it wouldn't put it past him. And I just hope. And look, let's not forget he's played a couple of games, and yeah, he's had a couple of dodgy moments, but he's actually looked quite good. He's a big frame, he's a big lad, and it's not always.
This is what I was going to ask you, Soren, next before we head down to the two boys, is that are Spurs fans making too much of this situation about Fraser Forster coming in here? Are we bemoaning our luck? Should we actually, like you said, there has been some decent moments, within him. Are Spurs blowing this out of proportion?
I think the problem is when you do watch him, you see, the ones where the goals have gone in, and it literally does look like he's diving in slow motion. He's a big lad, he's got to get down. And sometimes you just think, yeah, you're a bit slow in getting. But then you'll see others where he'll stop it with his feet or his arms and, outstretched, and he's a big frame. And you think, that is a damn good save. Sometimes you wonder if Vicario would have made that save. But I just hope tonight that he has a relatively decent game. We keep a clean sheet, give him that confidence, and let's just get behind him, because we've got no choice unless he plays Austin. And the argument is, why give Austin a 5-year contract if he's not in the future of our plans? So maybe Angel will go out there and say, look, you're our backup goalie now, so we've been playing the backup in Europe, so you're starting. We don't know.
Do you know what? I think it's safe to say, Soren, if he sort of came out and addressed, whether Spurs would go into the January market for a free agent goalkeeper or not, I think it probably shows that it probably will be Fraser Forster, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, the argument is who's out there. I mean, there's one or two, aging goalies. Well, they haven't played for. I mean, I think Lloris is available, isn't he? Should we bring Lloris back? But to me, you've got Forster there, who's our backup. You've got Austin, who you've just given a 5-year contract to, and I don't think any of us are overconfident in them. But let's just see. We can't do anything right now, so let's just get behind the team. Instead of sitting here whinging and moaning behind our keyboards, let's just get behind the team and hope it goes well.
No, look, I think the majority of us will be sitting there hoping it goes well. And look, it's not beyond the realms of impossibility that Fraser Forster can step in and do a job. He done it when Hugo Lloris quit on us at halftime at Newcastle, 2 years ago. Now, I will say that was 2 years ago. 2 years is a long time, especially in football. Don't get me wrong. My concern where it comes in with Fraser Forster, Dermot, is the age. Hugo Lloris, we kept him by his sell by day. And look, you could see near the end, he just wasn't as agile. The speed wasn't there. He couldn't get down and make saves that he was making before. Is that a concern for you, Dermot, or do you back Fraser Forster? Because look, let's be fair to the guy, he's got vast experience, right?
Yeah, experience counts for everything. You look at the couple of European games before when he picked him. We were doing this very show. I think I was on with Soren and Andrew, and we all put our heads in the hand that night, and we said, what's he doing? He had a worldie. We won that game. I think he kept a clean sheet as well. I think experience counts for everything. I think we've got to get behind him. I agree with Soren. We've got to get behind Forster. There's nothing we can do until the January window, anything. I think we will buy keeper in January. I think we will get a decent backup because Foster.
But Dermot, I'll read out Postecoglou's quotes to you just quickly.
Yeah.
He says, we will not be signing a new goalkeeper in January. We have full confidence in Fraser Forster.
I think that's more man management than him making a direct quote. I think that's giving Foster the confidence. Look, I'm between now and January, you're my man. I've got my full confidence in you. I think we will buy one in January. I think we have to buy a ready-made backup in January because Brendan Austin hasn't got the experience. He needs to be bedded in and get experience as well. But look, between now and then, it's Foster, and we need to get behind him. We need to show him that the manager's got the confidence in. We got the confidence in him to do a good job, and he can do a good job. He's proven time and time again when we've called upon him, he has got us out of trouble a few times. Yeah, he's old. Yes, he's not as agile. You know what I mean? He's not flexible as he used to be. Yeah, thanks, Safe. And look, that comes with age. That comes with all of us. I mean, I'm 47. I can't do now what I did when I was 27. But he's got the experience. He's got the know-how. He's got the knowledge. He knows his position. He knows what I've got to do. He's good at directing the youngsters in the back five. Ben Davies as well. Experience. Right, get here, get there. You mark him. You mark him. He's very vocal. Not like a Lloris who is very quiet. One thing about Forster and Vicario, they're both very vocal goalkeepers. They will give out when they have to. So I think you've got to put your confidence in them. And I think a smart bit of man management by Ange in the press conference. I really do. And I think fair play to him.
Do you know, I actually agree with you. I don't understand the outrage by it. Like, I agree with what Soren sort of said. If he comes out and says that, yeah, I'm going straight into the January market, then what's the point of him even selecting Fraser Forster? Because Forster knows that he has no belief in him. You know, Forster's 30-odd. He's not going to go out there to try and prove a point either, to a certain degree. And I just think it's bad management if you do that. I just think, you know, it's good man management. Hopefully try and get the best out of him for the next 10 games because we're going to have to rely on him. And then, you know, January we'll know whether he sticks by his word or whether we need to go into the market. But one question, a comeback question I would ask you though, Dermo, is Look, I agree with you. Fraser Forster, he's vastly experienced. And that's one of the good things, right? He's not going to come into today's game nervous or anything like that. If he does start, he's going to come in.
Yeah.
It's routine as usual to him. He's played hundreds of games in his life, thousands of games. But if he does look a bit past it, because I do have that concerns from the Galatasaray game, and I think that's many Spurs fans sort of left that Galatasaray game maybe thinking the same thing. Is he past it? How long does Postecoglou stick with him, though? Because I think it's one that he's going to have to change very, very quickly, because I do think the previous manager stuck with Lloris too long in that season.
In that way, yeah, I get what you're saying. But who do we get to come in for Forster? Two young goalkeepers that haven't got experience. I think our defending was bad that night at Galatasaray as well. Rudu had a woeful game, so you can't really just blame the goalkeeper.
No,
you have to look at the game as a whole, and we defended terribly. The times we did call on him, he did do well. So Osimhen is one hell of a striker. You give him an inch, he will make you pay for it. I don't care if you got Vicario in goal or De Gea in goal.
I know what you're saying, Dan, all right. I understand what you're saying, but I think Soren sort of alluded to it earlier on. You look at that game, Vicario probably would have made some of them saves, and that's a huge difference. Like, I don't think Vicario actually gets enough credit for the amount of saves he pulls off. Like, everyone's going on about the performance against Man City, great, but Vicario made some great saves in that game that have sort of gone under the radar, and he does that routinely for Spurs.
Yeah, he does, and I agree with you, Dave. Yeah, he does do it routinely for Spurs. But look, we've got to give Forster. We've got to get behind him, and I think he's got 10 games to prove himself. He is out of contract. Personally, myself, I would go for a Bazunu or Kelly. I know Kelly won't come, but Bazunu for Southampton. Dave, you and me have watched him enough for Ireland. He's very good with his feet. He does play the Ange way of football, and I think he'd be a great backup goalkeeper to come in and take over from Fraser Forster. He's got experience of playing in the Premier League. He was Southampton's number one. But for me, Forster is in tonight. We've got to put Galatasaray behind us, and we've got to move on tonight with a new game. We've got to get behind him, get his confidence. But this is his chance to prove to Ange, you can count on me for the rest of the season. Does he want a further year at Tottenham? This is his audition. These next 10 games is to prove to you, you don't need to buy another goalkeeper. You've got me. So, do you know what I mean? It is a little bit. I agree with what you say, but I just think Forster may surprise us.
No, look, he very
as well.
No, he very may well surprise us. Fraser Forster, he could come in. Let's wait and see. And by the way, big up Shawnee. He is back, by the way, everybody. Finally, we've unearthed him. We've managed to chase him down to the corner of the earth. We've unearthed him, and he is back. But big up Shawnee. He has been putting out videos, guys. So make sure, if you didn't know, get over there, check them out. They're up there. Big up Shawnee, my man. Good to see you back, sir. Hopefully you're keeping well.
Can I ask you one question? Just on an Irish goalkeeper side for Kelly and Bazunu. Out of them two, if we were to buy one at Tottenham, which one would you prefer as a backup to Vicario?
Well, look, when it comes to Queeving Kelleher, he's already stated, and it's well known. They speak about over international duty all the time. He will not leave Liverpool unless he's guaranteed to walk into a number one position. It's the stage of the career he's at. So that really all depends what Liverpool do with Marmadashvili when he arrives. The Georgian goalkeeper, I think they've signed him and he's back out there on loan, if I'm correct. So it really all depends what that situation is come the summer. But will he join Spurs, and have that competition with Vicario and not really be a clear number one? I'm not quite so sure. And look, I would like a more younger goalkeeper than Fraser Forster, just because of the agility and stuff like that. But, do you get yourself into a situation with Arsenal where it dominates the headlines every single week, brings a bit of, sort of unstabilizes the situation where they had it with Raya and Ramsdale, it sort of dominated absolutely everything. I'm not sure you do want to get yourself into that situation. And when it comes to Bazunu, look, I think Bazunu's a super talented keeper. When it comes to playing with his feet, that sort of passing range, he's got it. But, he's injured right now, and since he sort of went to Southampton, his career has gone that way rather than that way. So it's sort of tailed off a little bit. So to be honest with you, I don't think we'll get either of Dermo, to be quite frank. I think if we do go into the market, I think it would be like what we've seen him before, where you get someone like Pau Lopez. No one's never ever heard of him before. He comes in, you know, and he sort of sits there. But Drew, I want to go to you on the whole goalkeeper situation as well, in terms of Postecoglou speaking that he's not going to go into the January market for a goalkeeper. You know, he has faith in Fraser Forster, but also, can Fraser Forster sort of give us the level of performances across all competitions that Vicario does give us? Because there is a lot of games where Vicario actually keeps us in the game before we go on and steamroll opponents. Can Fraser Forster do the same for us?
I mean, they're different style, you know, obviously, you know, stating the obvious, they're different styles of keeper, aren't they? But you would like to think that, I mean, everyone at the moment, I still feel like, is battering Forster with the Coventry game. And I think people fail to remember that I'm pretty sure that was his first game back after a broken foot and not having a pre-season. So you got like you just don't give, we as a collective just don't give players breaks anymore. Do you know what I mean? You've just got to be an 8 or a 9 or a 10 out of 10. Otherwise, you are shit. Get rid. And I just, you know, there just doesn't seem to be any patience anymore. So while I think that, yes, you do have to, I mean, obviously he's got to change it a little bit, because at the moment we're rocking with Davies and Dragusin in the middle. So you can't play the high line that you were going to play with Romero and Van der Ven. And like, I mean, I don't get this high line argument, to be honest with you, because I think that phrase got used when we played Chelsea last year, and I just think it stuck. And I think if you watch any of the top, you know, 3, 4, 5 teams in the Premier League, what they ultimately try and do is pin the other team back in their own half and play around them until there's an opening and they score. You've got a couple of teams that play, you know, counter-attacking football, but that's typically the way it goes. I mean, you watch Liverpool, Van Dijk is usually standing not far off of the halfway line. Look at Man City. Diaz and Stones are not too far off the halfway line. So I think he gets battered with this high line bullshit all the time. And I just don't necessarily think that that's true. I think the guy works with what he has. I think there have been times when maybe, you know, he's run the risk of getting in behind and he's used Van der Ven a little bit too much to, you know, tried to use him too much to his advantage. But I mean, look at Man City. Like, Davies and Dragusin played a perfect game. They worked off of each other really well. They didn't play so high that they were completely getting rinsed of pace. It was a nice balance. And that's what, you know, that's what every good team has. It has a nice balance of going backwards and forwards. There's a flow. There's not this stop-start, stuttering crap. And we see it. We see it with Spurs. That's why we're inconsistent. Because there are games like last week where we look like we're purring like a Ferrari and everything just seems to be going and the touches are right and Kulusevski nutmegs somebody in the middle of the park and everyone's just like, this is the way it should be. But then you get the Ipswiches and you get the Palaces and you get that spluttering, you know, something's not ticking on the engine, the big end's all out of whack or something's going on. And those, you know, that's what separates us from the really, really good teams. And that's what we're working towards. So, you know, but then as far as I would like to think that over the last 18 months, and I think Ange touched on it, right? It's not like Fraser Forster's just been sitting there doing nothing. I mean, barring having a broken foot, he was involved in passing drills. He was involved in keeper training. Like, he has had a good career. He was an England international. So, you know, I just think given the situation, it's not ideal. I question more what we're doing with the other keepers, because if Brandon Austin's no good, I don't know why we gave him a 5-year contract, just to echo what everyone, you know. Well, Whiteman can go at the end of the year, right? So that's not as bad. I don't question that as much. You know, it would have been nice maybe if he'd have gone on loan, but then we'd be in a situation where we've got no homegrown, home-trained players or not enough for Europe. So that was just something that's a club thing. That's not on Ange. We didn't prepare well. You know, you can't put that all on the guy. So I don't know, man. I'm with you guys. You can't go out and get somebody to replace Forster in January because it puts no faith in him. Unless you had a conversation in the background and been like, look, you're just a number 2 dude, and that's all that's all you're good for, and he's okay with it.
I think you can go out and replace him. I think the point is around Postecoglou's words where he says we're not going to go into the January transfer window. But I think there's not a degree of what would you say, leeway given to Postecoglou that sometimes when you're managing a group of people and a group of players, sometimes you do have to play 5D chess, sort of put out subliminal message there. That's what he done. I think by coming out and saying, I'm not going into January market, because he knows he's got 10 games between now and January. He has to get to the January transfer window first. And I think that's why he's come out and said what he has about Fraser Forster, even if they do have intentions to go into the market.
Well, I would think, and obviously, if that's the case, you would think they've had a long conversation with him, and he's perfectly acceptable. He's perfectly happy with somebody coming in above him. But then you've got the problem. Then you're running into a situation where you're buying not quite a number 1, but not a number 2, to come in between Vicario and Forster. Because we all assume, Brandon Austin is clearly maybe not good enough. I don't see, unless it's like this. I don't know if it would be an emergency loan, but you get somebody on loan for 6 months until the end of the season. But then, like I say, you've got to make sure that Forster's really okay with that, because the last thing you want is a situation where somebody comes in, plays ahead of him. He's actually not too happy about it because he thought that was his last chance for his last hurrah. You've got Brandon Austin, who between now and next Tuesday is still not going to be good enough. So where are you then? That's even more complicated. So I think you just have to go with Forster, and you just have to hope that everybody else. Somebody mentioned on a show, and I think it might have actually been on Sean's show the other day. So if you're still here, big up Sean. Seeing your names, like seeing a beloved player back on the sidelines after a long injury. Do you know what I mean? When they warm up for the first time and you're just like, there we go, he's back. So, yeah.
Drew, do you think Sean's Santa Claus because he's coming out near Christmas?
Yeah. There you go. He's delivering all the presents,
live stream from Lapland this week. Just quickly, Drew, I just want to... Rob Frank has fired a question back in at you, and then I do want to bring Soren and Dermo back in. He says, do you blame us for not having patience, though, when time and time again we fail? And I think maybe he's picked you up wrong, because I have heard you emphasize with that, where it's like, you understand Spurs fans not having patience, because it's like we haven't won in so long, and sort of the stop-start nature, especially since Pochettino. But maybe that it doesn't. The sort of the impatience, it doesn't actually help when it comes to managers and players, is what you're saying. Is that correct?
Yeah. I know. I think as well. I don't blame. I've got a feeling. I'm just looking at Rob's picture there, and he looks like a fine young gentleman. And I think I've probably got the better part of maybe 10, 15 years on him, because you can tell by my wrinkles. So I completely get the generation below me. I'm hesitant to say younger, because they're still, men. They've never seen us win anything, and I have at least seen 3 trophies. I'm full. I was still a baby in nappies / diapers when we did the European Cup in the early 80s, and the FA Cup then. But I've seen an FA Cup. I've seen a couple of Carabao Cups, or whatever they were called then. So I think I come at it from a different angle. I get the frustration, but I've lived through a period where we were never prolific anyway. So but then also I kind of I guess I flip-flop on my own thought process, because while I get the frustration, I also don't understand quite, unless it's just a jealousy thing because you're jealous of other teams winning and you're not. I don't know where the frustration comes from, because you've never seen us win anything in the first place. So it's just a weird dichotomy. I I get it. I get a general frustration of not winning. I don't understand such a frustration where a lot of fans, and I'm not directing this at that gentleman, Rob Frank, I'm not directing this at you, but there are a lot of fans in our fan base that throw the baby out with the bathwater, and I don't know what they expect to happen when they do that other than an empty bathtub. Like, you don't get anything from doing that. You're better off sticking in the bath and, you know, and hoping that you get clean. I don't know. That's a terrible analogy. I don't know where I was going with that, but you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of fans that are just like, oh, I'm fed up with this, and I just, you know, I just think it's time to actually get behind something and just believe in something for a minute. You know,
it's almost like there's an entitlement, isn't there? You know, because we're
a little
Tottenham
bit.
we should be winning. And when you look at how the trophies have been allocated, I mean, I know they're not allocated, but, you know, won by the teams. There's the majority of competitions have been won by Man City, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool. You know,
Right.
These are the big teams in the country, and everybody keeps telling us, oh, we're a big team, and then we're not a big team. Well, we are a big team, we're not a big team. Well, if we aren't a big team, then we're not entitled to win these competitions. If we are a big team, then yeah, we should be winning them. But the problem is, if you look at how many finals we've actually been in, we have had opportunities to have won trophies, and we've not turned up in the finals. Now, whether you blame the players, whether you blame the manager, whether you blame Daniel Levy, the point is we have been good enough to get to finals,
right?
And we've cocked it up. So, you know, where people say, well, we haven't been successful. Well, we could have been successful. That's the problem. I know it's a could have, should have, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, with hindsight, if you look at it, a little bit of luck here and a little bit of luck there, we could have been European champions. We could have had an FA Cup. We could have had another Carabao Cup. You know, and it suddenly it becomes a whole different picture. We could have had we could have had a Premier League title within the last 20 years. But again, you know, we cocked it up in the running. So there have been opportunities for us to be successful.
Yeah.
We just haven't taken them. And that's the problem with the club, that we haven't taken the opportunities that have been given to us. So, you know, it's our own faults we're not successful.
Look, I fully get the frustration over the last, you know, 4 or so years since Pochettino. I fully get it. And that ideally, you know, all this fighting and everything else, it's all because everyone wants the best for the club and wants us to go on and be successful. We all just have different ways around it, different patient levels towards stuff and stuff like that. But I do think sometimes the impatient, especially towards managers, I think it becomes a double-edged sword. I think where we're at, I think we have to give a manager a couple of seasons to rebuild the whole squad, rebuild it going forward, allow leaders to emerge, find the last few pieces that he needs to really go on, push on and challenge and stuff like that. So for me, I do think the impatience can be a double-edged sword, although I do understand it. But I'm sorry, why we have you here, and I said I'd try Mary McGee's comment back at you because I know you're fed up with the sort of you know, the ups and the downs and the roller coasters of it. When we win, everyone's happy. When we lose, there's meltdowns. And she says if things don't go plan tonight, it's not the end of the world. No meltdowns, please. Remember, it's a rebuild.
Rebuild.
Is that me? Yeah. Look, I mean, I try to understand, but I just can't. That when we go out and we win 4-0 against City, for, you know, let's just take the last game, and some people still want to moan about it. What the hell are you doing supporting this team? Look, I get the criticisms and I get how people are finding it hard to get behind the team, and but for me, you take it game by game by game. And look, you get to my age and there might not be a tomorrow. So what's the point in being miserable today? That's the way I look at it. You know, if we go out and win, well, there's no, you know, that could be the perfect ending as a Spurs fan. If we go out and lose, it's the worst thing in the world. You know, we all feel the pain. And look, tonight, yeah, it's not the end of the world. Don't get me wrong. There isn't a single Spurs fan that if we lose tonight is going to sit there and think, oh, fantastic, we've lost. Well, some will because it fits their agenda. But if we go out and win tonight, it doesn't matter how we win. A win is a win. If we win and it's through a bit of luck, we've won. If we win and we've absolutely played Roma off the pitch, fantastic. But I just don't get this. Well, I'm never going to be happy as long as Levy's in charge, or as long as Angie's the manager, or as long as this player's playing for us. If you are a Tottenham fan, and you know what I call a fan, then you get behind your team no matter what. Doesn't matter if we're winning or losing. You support this team. If you don't agree with the manager, I mean, I hated Conte, but I was still behind him till the day he did his rant, and then that was it. I'd give up. But I hated the football under Conte, but I still defended him because he was my manager. I'm not pleased with Levy, and I hope Dermatron's going to give us some fantastic news. You know, he's dangled that carrot in front of us and then shuts up about it. But I don't want Levy in charge. But when I look at it, I think, well, we can't guarantee who is going to be in charge. He's going to do the best for the club. I don't, you know, Ange wasn't my choice. I didn't know who he was really, other than the fact he was in charge of Celtic in Scotland. But I'm behind him now, and until he goes, I'll be behind him. And I just don't get anybody's mentality that would rather see the team lose just to fit their agenda. We are Tottenham Hotspur fans. Let's get behind the team. No more bullshit, no more arguing. Let's just unite as a fan base and get behind the team. You know, and then we might actually do something if we, you know, if all the fans are singing, if all the fans are on the same hymn sheet, then what's to say the club can't go and win something? I just find it absolutely bizarre that people want to moan about the club, especially after going out and beating the champions of the Premier League 4-0 at their place. Doesn't matter. They haven't lost for 52 games or something stupid like that. Yeah. Jesus Christ. You know, we've just beaten the best team probably in Europe, if you know, when they're on the form. And it wasn't a shit team that they played. And we've gone out and beat them. And all you hear of some people is, well, we'll lose the next. Doesn't matter if we lose the next game. We won that game. Get behind the frigging team for once.
Can I just add to that? Sorry.
Yeah, walk away.
Sorry. Look, I was 7 when we won the UEFA Cup, so I can remember us winning our last European trophy. I was 5 when we won the FA Cup in '82, so I barely remember that. But I remember us winning the European trophy. I remember us being successful. I also remember us nearly going out of business, nearly going out of existence. And fans now moan about Ange and the team and that. Try going to bed as a young teenager. Have I got a football club to support in the morning? Is that club going to be there? And try going through that. That's more hard than, yeah, we all want to win trophies. We all want to be successful. Of course we all do, but football evolves. Football's changed more for what it was. I think I said to you last night, though, didn't I? Football's different in the 80s and the 90s than it is now. Some clubs are going to be bigger than others. Some other chairmen are going to they're going to buy more than others. Jack Walker did it. Dave said it last night. Jack Walker did it with Blackburn in '95. One beat the great Manchester United. So I think instead of coming out and slagging off the players, let's get behind this team. Let's get behind the club. We're all Tottenham Hotspur fans at the end of the day. Good, bad or ugly. We all love this club. We all want this club to succeed. The old spirit of Bill Nick needs to grow, needs to stay alive within this club. And you go through phases. Teams go through circles. Man United was successful. Liverpool was successful in the 80s. Manchester United was successful in the late 90s, early 2000s. Chelsea were successful. It all goes in cycles. And look, it hasn't gone our way. But Soren's right. For a kick here or a kick there, we could have been really successful. But it just didn't go our way, and it just didn't have the luck. Poch made a few mistakes here and there. You can't blame the chairman for that. You have to blame the 11 players on the pitch. Like when we lost to Newcastle, your Luis not coming out for the second half. That's not showing leadership. That's showing cowardice. You look at Vicario on Saturday playing for an hour with a fractured ankle. I mean, that shows leadership to me. That shows determination. That shows I don't care if I got a fracture and he didn't know, but he shows I'm going to pay through the pain because I want to play for this shirt. And we all got to do it. Dave does content week in, week out. I do. Soren comes onto these shows. Drew comes onto these shows because we love this club. And we're all together. We may not agree on everything, but down in the deeps of our stomach, we're all Tottenham Hotspur fans. We're a family. And it doesn't matter, right or wrong. We support the cockerel on that dress, on that shirt. We need to get behind the team tonight. We need to get behind Ange, the team, Forster, the full 11. And win, lose or draw, we're the mighty Tottenham Hotspur. Fuck everyone else. We're the mighty Tottenham Hotspur. We're the best team in the world. And that's what we have to believe. That's what we should believe. That's what we have to believe. And that's what we will believe because we are Tottenham Hotspur. Everyone forgets that.
No, fair. Look, what I always say is I just think, look, everybody wants success, right? We all just have different ways of getting there. You know, some believe getting the owner out is what brings success. Some believe we could get success over the owner, etc., etc. Look, at the end of the day, the more games we win, if we can start bringing a bit of consistency, all of a sudden, some of them problems start going away. We start winning games. It brings more people on board. So hopefully we could do that tonight. You know, that's what it's about. Just win tonight and bring more and more people on board and keep that momentum, keep that excitement behind Tottenham Hotspur. But look, guys, I do want to finish off the goalkeeper conversation just quickly as well. Is, you know, some people are saying, do we need to change the way we're playing to accommodate Fraser Forster because he's not as good with his feet as someone like Vicario? And you just want to answer that?
No.
That's
the answer to that. No.
There's got to be a little bit of calibration, I would say. But, you know, again, alluding to what Ange said in his press conference, like these guys know how to do the small passes and the, you know, the long passes 50, 70, however many yards are actually more difficult to, you know, unless you're a very, very good midfielder, a very, very good football player, those long passes just tend to go into an area. You've got very few people now that can put it on a sixpence, as my grandfather used to say. So I don't, you know, I think there's got to be some sort of adjustment, but he's a very good shot stopper. And I just hope that if the team plays with the confidence that they play with, you know, you should, I say should, but being able to play out from the back doesn't necessarily mean that you give the ball to Ben Davies and expect him to work miracles. You know, there are patterns of play and he's very, very composed at times. And he showed last week that he's actually able to turn and put very, very nice passes out to the wings, which is really all you're asking him to do, or just playing little balls between the lines. So it's just having the confidence to do it. They're getting more games under their belt, and you would expect that with, you know, we still don't know quite how long Romero's and Van der Ven are going to be out for. So I think they've probably still got another couple of games that they're going to have to play. So, you know, my concern is not having somebody else to come in and give one or two of them a break. Like, you're essentially asking them to play 90 minutes for the next three or four days, and then another 90 minutes. So, you know, now I'm thinking, do you need a fifth centre back? But can I just ask a real quick question, Dave? Because I don't know how the panel feel about this. I was watching it was the Last Word on Spurs, and Ricky Sachs got absolute pelters for this question, but I actually thought it was quite interesting. Okay. Is it negligent of the football club and the medical staff to have let Vicario go out for the second half, fully knowing, and they might not have known it was broken, but he was clearly limping? And you've got to think that he's expected to play 45 minutes, either launching himself off of one ankle or the other. And I don't know. I'm just going to put it out there. It is what it is. It's kind of, you know, it's whatever, because we're already over it and the shit's already happened. But I just wonder whether, you know, months could have been weeks had they just thrown Forster in at half time. I don't know.
Do you know what? It's an interesting one. Soren, Dermot, you want to answer that? Because actually, it is a question I had there. Actually, you're after jogging my memory. It's sort of like, does Vicario deserve praise, and is he's the one that makes that decision, or, is it like Drew said, is it negligence from the medical team to allow him to continue? Because I think it actually happened 30 minutes into the game. It was that poor back header by Porro, and then it was the chance from Savinho where it happened. Soren, Dermot, what's your thoughts on this, lads?
I would argue the fact of, obviously you're not going to know there's a break or a fracture in there, and if Vicario's turned around and said no, I can play, it's just a bit of a niggle type thing, and yet you can still limp a little bit, but if he was agile and he's moving around all right, and they'll probably give him a painkiller. I think it's a tough one because we now know there's a fracture. Then the argument is, well, yeah, we shouldn't have played. But the problem is, at that point, they didn't know it was a fracture. He could have just thought, oh, it's a bit of bruising. I've got a week to recover if it's bruising. I'm not going to play Thursday night. Maybe. I think with hindsight, it's an impossible question because if you go back to the day, are you going to want to take your number one goalkeeper out if he thinks he can play? Probably not. If he's turning around and saying, look, yeah, he's limping, but how many times have we seen players try to run an injury off or things like this? And we can blame them. The medical staff is negligent enough without having to put this on top of them as well.
Right.
For me,
I guess it was just one of the things, right? If it's happened, like Dave said, it's happened in about 35 minutes with the knock against Porro, and he's still limping coming out at half time. That's why that I guess is why I was more. But again, it is a very much hypothetical.
Where Vicario hit it. I wonder is it a case where Vicario sort of hid the injury because most players, if you ask them, you sort of have to drag them off the pitch if there's something wrong. Most of them are not willingly sort of walking off the pitch or raising their hands looking for a substitution. You're talking about a guy that said he would have signed for the club in blood. That's a guy that will play through that pain. I think the question comes in is, should the medical team be on that straight away? Should they have looked at half time? Did they look at it at half time? Because if you take off that boot, it swells and you don't get that boot back on. Especially with the fracture. So did they look at it at halftime even? Look, I guess we don't know, right?
Well, I reckon one of the most surprising things that's come out of all of this is the fact that $1 billion stadium has a cheese room and no x-ray machine. With how quick it is to do an x-ray, you would just, I'm actually really surprised it's not just standard at football, but then I suppose it's radiation and maybe they can't, I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out of turn. I don't know, but yeah.
No, Dermot, anything you want to say on it?
Yeah, I agree with Woody. I think it's Woody Hotspur. It's adrenaline. He was probably full of adrenaline, and he probably didn't feel the pain. And when you are full of adrenaline, you don't feel the pain. And I think Vicario was the sort of player you would have to drag him off, kicking and screaming. You would have to get men on there and literally drag him off. He would not want to let the team down. Should they have been cautious? Probably. But Vicario, knowing Vicario, no, I'm fine. I can play. And the manager takes the players on that. He said, if you're fine, okay, go out. And look, it's sad what has happened. But can we just look what commitment he's shown to that club, to that badge? Let's put that out there. Injury or no injury, he is a proper Tottenham player. He put badge before himself. And let's give him a bit of credit. That's leadership. Sure. When we were losing at Newcastle, our captain sat in the dressing room and refused to come out for a second half. Vicario goes out there. Nobody knew he had a fractured ankle. He went out there and still put in a damn well great performance in that second half. So, it's 50-50. Should have done, would have done, could have done. It doesn't change the fact that he's got a fractured ankle. It doesn't change the fact he kept us in that game in that second half with some fantastic saves. And it doesn't change the fact that he possibly is a future captain of our team. He leads by example. And that's what you want for a captain. That's what you want in your leadership group. Somebody lead by example. And Maddison and a few of them should look at Vicario and say, hang on, we need to follow his example. And I think that's just my opinion on it. But look, it's one of them. Should have, could have, done, could have, should have, could have, made. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of them things. But I'm looking at on the side that it showed guts and determination, and also
100%.
adrenaline.
Mm-hmm. And I do love the idea that he played through it. It's sort of, paints him as a warrior almost. And I do like that. And it sort of does set an example. If there is anybody that maybe is in there too often getting rubbed down because of pains here and there, it might also toughen them up a little and set a little bit of an example. But again, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. But look, we move. Inacoma says, member for 4 months, says, do you think we could play a fast 9 tonight because we're lacking 4 players? Awesome show, 100% Ange in. Look, just quickly, when it comes to the fast 9 for me, when I think Roma will come here and look to play that sort of low block. We traditionally struggle against that. We seen last season, I don't think you will get away with someone like Son up top against low block teams, who in effect at times did play the fast line, vacating that position, dropping deeper, picking up the ball, etc., etc. I do think if up against low block teams, you've got to have that sort of target man in there. You've got to go with Dom Solanke. Look, I do think it could be a situation today, though, where Solanke plays part of the game and Son plays part of the game. It's just who starts up front, I guess, is the question in coma, which we will get on to, my man. But look, really appreciate the support. An absolute great question. But the problem I have with the false 9 in a system like this is if that false 9 drops out, you do need someone then to take up that position and occupy that, because when you start getting the balls out wide, they can't cross it in because you got nobody in there, which means they have to keep coming back across, recycling the ball and stuff like that. So I do think tonight is all about a target man. We've got Thomas in the house. Good to see you, Thomas. Hopefully you're keeping well. And he says, just because I love you guys, really appreciate the support, Thomas. Thank you very much, my man. We've also got Ollie Freeman. He says, big up, Ollie. I'll give you a ring tomorrow. I'm just leaving. Limerick should be home for kickoff. Well, you race against time, Ollie. Race against time. It is icy out there, so please be careful, my man, and safe home, buddy. And then Bob Down Under says, do we rest Porro or Doji? Look, I think when you look at his selections over the last few, he's tended to rest one of them. It's just which one is he going to rest tonight? I would argue it should be Porro. I think, he's been one of the most selected players under Ange Postecoglou since his tenure. You can't keep putting him out there. Eventually, he's going to break down, or the minutes are going to cost us somewhere along the line in terms of performance levels. So I think it would be wise to maybe rest him tonight for that game against Fulham. That's what I would be doing. And, play a Dozier, maybe get him to build off that defensive performance that he put in against Man City. But big up, Bob. Really appreciate support. And then Inacoma's also gifted out 1 Irish Hotspur membership. Really appreciate that. I'll go and find out who the lucky recipient is now. And that's gone to
Twan55. Sorry, David.
Big up,
you'd say that.
No, I appreciate that. Twan55. Make sure you thank Inacoma for the generosity. Big guys, really, really appreciate the support. And look, as we're going, guys, I'm sorry, why do I keep saying guys? Figure of speech. Gentlemen and ladies out there, keep getting your questions in, keep getting your comments in, smash that like button if you will really enjoying the show and want to help out the channel, helps with the algorithm, send it out to more people. And look, if you want to help support what we're doing, feel free to send in a super chat with any questions or topics you want us to discuss, or grab yourself a membership for all the members-only content that we produce, or gift it out to others since it's the season of giving. But look, let's keep it moving. Let's go into the sort of centre-back. Oh, just quickly on the question about, do we have to play different? I think for me, the defenders, especially in terms of in possession, I think they're going to have to take a lot more onus on the ball. I don't think they should be looking to turn and go back to Fraser Forster and look for him to relieve duty, because I'm a forward in an opposing team. I'm waiting for them absolutely pounce, and I make a mistake. And against Galatasaray, he made a lot of errors trying to play out from the back when there was pressure on him. So I would say to any of them defenders, if I'm Postecoglou, I'm giving them a nice instruction. Do not go back to him with possession. Look to play forward. And if you have to, hit the channels. That's what I would be saying rather than push back. In terms of the high line, look, I think it's a bit of a myth that we get caught out with this high line time and time and time again. I don't think it's as much of an issue as it's made out to be. So I don't think we really have to adjust the defensive line too much. Maybe you might drop it back 5 yards so there's not as much of a gap, but I don't think you need to drop it back drastically, to be quite frank. But guys, let's move into centre-back, the centre-back situation here, because, you know, Radu Dragosin and Ben Davies, they delivered an absolute outstanding performance against Man City, securing a clean sheet in the process. Dermo, do Dragosin and Davies have what it takes to deliver consistently in high-pressure games, or was their performance against Man City a one-off?
I think they do. They're very much like an unlikely married couple that you don't think are going to fit together and suit together. Maybe they complement each other more than what we give them credit for. I think I feel quite confident with them two in the back two tonight. I never thought I'd say that about Ben Davies, to be fair. But
are you getting carried away though, Dermo?
No, I think since Honky Dory and
you'll be sitting back there with your Cuban cigar tonight watching the game with you.
Yeah, I think since Honky Dory and Bobo the Clown left the club, I think Ben Davies has evolved into a better squad player. I think the other two were holding him back, to be fair. I'm going to get pelts for that. But no, I think for tonight, I don't think it's a one-off. I think they'd be quite all right tonight. I think they complement each other actually very well. And I think Rudu's playing off Davies' experience. And this is why I go about experience. Davies does have experience. He's not the great centre-back in the world. He's not a great starter, but if you need him there, he's there. And he has put in some good performances when asked for this season, I think. He hasn't done too bad. So I think, look, he's on the last year of his contract as well. He has something to play for, another year. So he'd be playing out of his skin to get an extension. So, look, I have no problems with them tonight, but please, Van de Ven and Romero, come back as quickly as you can.
Big up, Jack, as well. Hope you're keeping well. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Says guys can be gender neutral there. Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. Look, I think Ben Davies has been absolutely brilliant this year, to my surprise. Absolutely brilliant. But I do have a question mark around, you know, where was that the last couple of years? If that was always there, where was that the last couple of years? Are we only seeing him at his very best because he's playing for his future, you know, whether it be at Tottenham Hotspur or another move? But nonetheless, guys, he has really performed this year. So I suppose it begs the question, because I've seen a couple of articles sort of come out about it. Don't know whether to believe it or not. You know, we'll go to some of the other experienced heads here, Drew and Soren. Would you offer Davies a new contract at Tottenham or a contract extension? Okay, both shaking your heads. I'm going to need a minute to sort of gather my head around this, but go on, explain to me.
Actually, I think he's been good for quite a while. He's been very good. I'm not going to say our best centre back, but look, how many times under Jose and under Conte did we say, had it not been for Davies, we'd have conceded more goals, chucking his body in the line, left, right, and centre. And look, he's not the fastest. That's the only downside, I think, to his game, that he hasn't got a lot of pace. But bring that back line 10 yards back a little bit, and him and Drag can, I think they could be a good pairing. And
do you know, my dad said that to me today, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think he deserves an extension to his contract. I'd like to see him see his career out with Tottenham, become a coach with us. He's done his coaching things, badges. But look, I know I'm classed as a happy clapper, and I can't see any bad in a lot of the players. So I think he's been a good, solid, average player for us. I mean, he's not a world beater, but he's certainly not a bad player. And you ask him to do a job and he does it. I mean, like any defender, he can get beaten during the game, but to me, he's done more good for the club than he's done bad. And I think when you put him in that line, where we compare him to Dyer and things like this, let's not forget Dyer's now playing for Bayern Munich, one of the best teams in Europe. So he can't be that bad a player. I just think with Davies is another one of those that fans have made him a scapegoat and just chuck all the blame onto him when, to me, every game he plays is a good 6.5, 7. Never really has a bad game, never really has a massive outstanding game, but I think, you watch him, and if we had more players like him that played for the club and played for the badge, I think we'd be a far better team, personally. I like Davies.
Leighton Evelyn says he can't believe what he's hearing. Now, I must say, he is the anomaly in the chat, Soren. A lot of most other people actually agree with you. This is the anomaly comment in the chat here from Leighton, but a lot of people are actually sort of agreeing with you in that regard.
If he was a Brazilian player or something like that, then there'd be a lot more people thinking he was fantastic. But because he's a Welsh lad, he comes from the valleys, then I mean, I just don't get what people want. He's a model professional, and we're not talking about a player that is rubbish. He is a good, solid player. He's not a fantastic player. He's not a world-class player. He's a good, solid Premier League player. And I'm sorry, if people don't like that, then that's fine. They can have their opinions. But for me, I think he's done more good for the club than he's done bad.
Fair enough.
I think the question here, Eric Dyer and Sanchez were holding Ben Davies back for all them years. They've been holding back a decent centre-back. But look, I agree with Soren what he says, and I think they may keep him on more as a player coach and bring him into the coaching side. I think that's where he's heading. He has played well this year. Nobody can criticise Ben Davies this year. He saved us at Coventry. You look at a game against Wolves last season, he had a partnership with Eric Dyer, where we conceded 2 goals in the last minute at Wolves. Was it last season? And both goals came from Eric Dyer's side of the pitch. And everyone was criticising Ben Davies. But I think the likes of Dyer and Sanchez, I think Ben Davies was probably the best out of the 3 of them.
The thing is, what we've got to remember, Dermot, is we're not talking about Davies being first choice centre-back.
No,
we are talking about him being a backup. And, there is a big difference between having somebody like Davies as a backup and Davies as a first team starter. Massive difference.
There is a massive
for me,
difference.
I think when you've got a player like him who is prepared to sit on the bench and come in when needed, then I just think he's a fantastic player for us. I do.
I think he's a good example for the youngsters how to be a professional footballer. Yeah. I think that you've got to look at it that way as well for the youngsters to lead by example.
Are we guilty though of glossing over 3-4 years of really bad? Like I think he's just as culpable as someone like Dyer and Sanchez for the last few years, and I think people gloss over the fact that it was him that led the revolt against Nuno inside the football club. He went to Daniel Levy about him.
I think he was correct about Nuno. He was a garden gnome then. He's still a garden gnome now. I mean,
sitting above us in the Premier League table, isn't he? Or he was.
He was, but look, I think Ben Davies. You're right. Ben Davies should take responsibility for the teams he's played in and the mistakes he's made. But we can only judge Ben Davies for now. And if you look at him now, he's not let us down this season. Saved us at Coventry. Yes, he's had bad games. We can go back through his career where we can say he done this wrong and done that wrong. I think for under Ange, I think he likes the way Ange plays. I think he's shown his experience now as well. Coming out very much this season. And also I think he's a calming influence on Rudu. You look how well he played on Sunday with Rudu. He sort of marshaled them through that game with his experience, with the way he plays the game. And Rudu can learn an awful lot of Ben Davies. And I think also with the example he sets within the dressing room, how to live your life as a footballer, how to lead your life off the pitch. I think he's setting a very good example in the dressing room. Look, we all make mistakes. We all do things in our past we wish we never did. We all do things at the time we think is right. But I think at this time, I think we need to say we need to call a spade a spade. Ben Davies has been playing well. we can all do things in our past where we haven't done well, and we can all point, you did this wrong, and rightly so. But I think now we should just, if we can give him pelters then, I think we should give praise now.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, I don't think there's anybody not giving him praise for what he done this season. Like, the thing is, I've sat there, I've given the guy praise this season. But I don't want to jump into giving the guy a new contract just like that, because I do think it raises a question. This season, he has been absolutely brilliant, and I do think there's maybe, I can't believe I'm saying this, but maybe there's merit that he actually suits the attacking side of the game a lot more than systems that sit back. Under Pochettino, you know, he was a capable sort of backup left back. Don't get me wrong, it was a bit of a downgrade from what Danny Rose offered you in terms of going forward and stuff like that. And, you know, under Postecoglou this season, he's been good. And there was some games last season where he was good. But for 3-4 years, when he was in the comfort zone and had a long-term contract and big wages at Tottenham, there's many years where them performances were not there. Why this season when his future is on the line? And that's why I don't want to just jump into, oh, he's having a great season, let's give him a new contract. You give him a new contract. How do you know he doesn't slip back into that comfort zone? Don't get me wrong. He's a very nice human being. And I don't think a lot of people know this. He gives up so much of his own time to help Tottenham out off the pitch in terms of doing a lot of their charity work, all the meeting and greetings, going to the hospitals and all that sort of stuff. He does a lot of good work in that regard. But I don't want to jump into offering him a new contract straight away. And if Tottenham do, I hope it's only a year extension to keep him on his toes, because I do think it is a fair question to ask. But where was that for if he's capable of it this season? Where was that for 3 seasons? For the last 3 seasons, I do think it's a valid question, and I think I think that is different from, you know, saying, oh, you know, if we're going to criticize him, we have to praise him. I am praising him, but I don't think we should get carried away with it either.
No, I agree with you. I think it'd be more, if they do offer him a contract, I think they need more effort on the coaching and more of the club, do the club side of it. I think that's where I think he would be better. And maybe he can learn advantage of, he's got his youth coaching, so maybe he can help with the youth side of it and sort of work his way into that. But I do agree with you, Dave. He was part of the problem at the time. I agree with that. But I think I think Ben Davies is probably a model professional. I think what he does off the pitch, and he does a hell of a lot off the pitch. Gives some of his wages to charity as well. He's very much a player.
I think that's not too far down. I can't confirm.
No, but I have heard that he does give some to charity, not all of it. A bit like Richarlison does as well. Yeah. A lot of that goes under the radar, and a lot of the good stuff he does, and we sort of pinpoint on the bad performances, rightly so. But I think if they're going to give him a contract, give him more of a contract off the pitch. Right, become a coach. We'll help you do your badges, help with Ange, and do a lot more of the PR stuff for us. And I think that's where his career will probably end. Doing that, I think they won't give him. They won't give him. Sorry.
No, go on, Dan. Sorry.
I think I'd rather than give Sonny a year's contract before they give Ben Davies one. To be fair, if they're going to give one to Ben Davies, you should give one to Sonny as well.
I think they'll both get one, but let's you know, everybody's saying, oh, he's had a couple of good games. No, if you go back to the end of Poch when Jose came in and watch the amount of points he saved us, game in, game out, and then we're criticising him because, he's not the fastest, I get that, and yes, he's had some bad games. Van der Ven, who we all praise and, you know, class him as one of our best defenders, he's had some bad games. And he's only played for us for 1 season, basically. Porro has been absolutely dreadful. But we all pass on these because Davies is the, he's the lad
is it because
from
he's
Wales.
Not a fancy name, Søren? Is that what you're saying?
He's not a sexy player, but the lad has not really done anything wrong. Yeah, he's had a couple of games. He's been with us for 10 years, and we're going to pick up a couple of bad games to say he's not been great. You sit there and say, oh, you know, where's he been for the last 3 or 4 years? Well, apart from sitting on the bench because he's been back up to the other players, then when he has come on, he's been quite dependable. And I just find it amazing that we can sit here and criticise a player who, yes, is not the levels of the top, you know, Man City and things like that, but we aren't Man City. We're Tottenham Hotspur. We're probably a top 6 team at best at the moment. And is he good enough to play for us? Not as a first team starter, no. But as a backup defender, I'm sorry, but I just find it amazing that we think that we're going to have a group of defenders that could all get into Man City's first team. Whether they're backup or not. I just find it.
So you don't think Spurs? So you don't think Spurs should go into the, if you had an option of Spurs go into the market or renew Davies' contract, say for an extra season, what do you think would be most beneficial for Spurs next season? The reliability or someone else coming in here and pushing for places if they buy it?
Are we talking January or summer?
Summer at this point. I don't think anything's going to happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we shouldn't go and get a new defender in summer, but again, the argument comes: who's going to come to a club to sit on the bench behind Van der Ven now? Players want to play, and if you're going to sign a top first-class rate defender and tell him that he's going to sit on the bench behind Van der Ven, he's not going to come to Tottenham. And unless it's a young, promising player, but let's not forget we've got this. What's his name? The young Croatian lad coming.
Vicario.
So by giving Ben Davies one more year, it allows him to come and settle into the team as well. We've got Ash Phillips to come back. It gives him time to settle into the team. So I'm not saying don't go out and buy one, but I see the merits also in giving him a year's contract, because that then probably takes him to the point where he's going to retire. He becomes a coach for us probably, and he brings these young players on. To me, it's an obvious solution.
Look, I actually think I think you raise a very valid point about, maybe extending it for a year and bringing Vicario in, giving him a chance to settle in. I think you raise a valid point. Look, if I'm Ben Davies, I leave on a high after this season. I don't think it's going to get much better for him. Leave people like me with that sort of memory, you know what I mean? But look, personally, I would like to see Spurs move on from Ben Davies. I do think that time is coming, and I would like to go with something a little bit different. But, to your point, is that next player going to come in and be as reliable as Ben Davies has been this season? It might not be the case. Look, Drew, we'll get you in on this. I think you sort of sparked, no, maybe it was me that sparked this debate, but, I know you were nodding your head when I sort of brought it up about him maybe potentially getting sort of an agreement with Sarah. So what onto the midfield?
I mean, I'll keep it short and simple. I think at the very least, firstly, I'm sorry, I think some of the responses to it in the chat are just fucking ridiculous. The fact that somebody can turn around. The dude's had 227 games in the Spurs shirt, and people are saying he's done nothing right, and he's only had one or two good games. I'm sorry, but that is just hyperbole fucking bollocks. That's all I'll say about that. I think the dude is a model professional. I think he's quite happy to get up and do his job when he needs to. He's also quite happy to sit behind Van der Ven. I think he does a job. None of us are under any illusion that he is the next starter for Tottenham Hotspur. We're not saying that. We're saying for Tottenham as a team, he's not bad. And the fact is, we are Tottenham. So does anyone really expect that we're going to go out and buy another 40, 50, 60 million pound centre-back? Because if we did, we'd have bought the dude that went to Arsenal. So I just don't know what people want, man. One minute we want a new signing, but then the new signing's going to block the path of a youngster, which we also want to play as well. So I don't know. I think sometimes people say shit just so that people look at them. I don't know, man. It's ridiculous. He's never played a good game. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, I can count on at least 2 or 3 games where he's made goal line clearances and we've gone on to win the game. So how can he not have 2 good games and yet he's potentially saved us 9 points? I mean, I'm sorry. Whoa. Anyway,
do you know what this season he has made? That one against Coventry comes to mind. That was a very, very good tackle. But look, I'm outnumbered. It's 3-1. And I wonder is the rest of the Spurs fans.
And I'm just saying, like, by no means, I'm not sitting here saying give the guy 5 years and 120 grand a week. We know. People seem to think like, and I know you don't think, but people like I've turned around and said, yeah, he's done all right. Give him another year, and people are losing their fucking minds. And I just, I love it. I love it and I hate it. This fan base, I love you lot, but you fucking drive me up the wall sometimes.
Absolutely love it. Well, look, guys, the lineups are out, so let's call them out and let's get the boys' thoughts on it. So the big question is, who's going to start in goal tonight? What's that coming over the hill? It's Fraser Forster. He's in goals tonight. Pedro Porro comes in at right back. Dragosin and Davies continue their bromance at centre back, with Archie Gray coming in for Destiny Edozie at left back. Sar, Bentancur and Kulusevski, it looks like, through the midfield. Johnson out on the right, Solanke through the middle, and Son out left. So no James Maddison. James Maddison is pulled from the lineup after his star-studding performance against Man City. On the bench tonight is Austin and Whiteman, so they must be expecting a complete collapse in the goalkeeper department. They brought two just in case. Edozie. Then we've got Young Hardy on the bench, the defender, along with King, who will provide us a bit of cover at centre-back, left-back. Will they get any minutes? Probably not, but it's still a great experience for them in terms of the build-up to the match. You know, how they meet, you know, the sort of how the players prepare themselves and all that sort of stuff. Pre-match routine. It'd be absolutely great for them to go through. It'll be a really good experience, along with Basuma, Bergvall and Maddison as options in the midfield, along with young Callum Olusesi from the under-21s, who's also a centre midfielder. And then we are short on options up front. We have Williams Barnett, the young under-18s player who has been brewing up a storm for them this season. He's been rewarded with a spot on the bench alongside Timo Werner. So we'll go through each of you guys and get your thoughts on the lineup. Drew, thoughts on the lineup? I think he's gone probably a lot stronger than what many people expected, right? Well,
yeah, I just don't know that he's got much choice, honestly. I really don't. Especially, we're light up front, we're light in defence. About the only team, I mean, you guarantee Bentancur's playing because he can't play in the league. You know, yeah, I mean, it's what I expected. The only thing I will say, I'm wondering if there's a possibility, being as Johnson only played 10, 15 minutes on the weekend. So there's a chance he might end up playing 90. And I could see a scenario where potentially he gets moved into, if needs be, he gets moved into the centre after 60, 70 minutes and he becomes the 9 and Solanke and Son come off potentially. And then you can move Kulusevski out to the right because he had a pretty good game out on the right. I think he's just got a whole new lease of life just in general. I think, you know, I'd really hope he's just getting to the point where he just like takes games by the scruff of the neck. Like he really needs to start adding numbers to his game. But I'm really starting to, and I'm in the mud because I honestly, last year, I think I was on this show or on a show and I turned around and said to you, he's one-dimensional, he's terrible, get him out. So I completely hold my hands up. Guess what, guys? It's 2024. You can change your mind. So there you go.
Flexibility is thought, as Sean likes to call it.
It's the flip-flop.
Havana.
But yeah, strong team, man. I like it, and I think if we all play well and we play like we know we can, let's get at least 2-0, 3-1, 3-1. I always like a 3-1.
3-1. You're not worried about the low block tonight, you know, because that is our kryptonite, you know, just like we are to Man City and Pep Guardiola.
You know what? I'm just hoping that Roma are so terrible at the moment that they're not going to cause us many problems. I mean, and someone just said, Alan Glauber in the chat, don't underestimate Roma. I'm trying not to, but they have been absolutely shocking this year. Like people said earlier, they're on their third manager. Ranieri, yeah, he's got a pretty good against us, but that was a completely different team playing a completely different setup. I expect them to come here, shut up shop, maybe try and catch us on the break. So do you know what? I don't know. I'm going to be in the fucking mud, and I don't see it. I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine.
Do you know what? It'd be nice to. I think maybe he's gone with that lineup to maybe try and bring that consistency, and maybe he's learning that if he does chop and change it, you know, it's hard to expect them to bring that consistency, and maybe that's the thinking behind it tonight. But I would like us to go out there and actually get the job done in devastating fashion early, so that we can actually bring on some of these youngsters and actually give them some minutes, bleed them, see what they look like. Sorry, on to you though, man. What's your thoughts on the lineup? I mean, Maddison missing from that midfield. What do you think the thinking is behind that? Because Sarr keeps his place. Kulusevski has now moved into the middle. What do you think the reason is behind maybe taking Maddison out tonight?
I just see Maddison starting on Sunday. That's all. The only disappointment I've got, and I kind of think there's no other choice really. It looks like Gray's going to be playing left back, unless he's playing centre back and Davies is playing left back. But I just
he played left back last night, didn't he? In the Europa League, he played left back.
Yeah, but I just want to see him playing midfield. That's his position, and we all know what's going to get said again tonight. Oh, Gray's out of his depth. Gray's getting run over. Gray's getting this. Gray's getting that, and nobody's giving the lad a chance. This lad is going to be a great player for Tottenham Hotspur, but we've got to start playing him where he belongs, midfield. And
is it a testament to how good he is, though, Drew? Lauren, because the way I look at it, right, he's out of all the midfielders, even Bergvall, he's the one that's been chose to go out there and play out of position. Now, look, granted, he played right back. I think he played right back the same amount of games he played centre midfield for Leeds United by the time he's left there, especially last season anyway. But it's actually a testament to how good he is that he's filling in multiple positions for Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two ways to look at it. One, we're playing him across the back line to get him ready for playing that number 6 role, because that's his strongest position, is that number 6 role. And it shows that Ange's got the confidence in him. And I mean, I watch him and I think, yeah, I mean, look, he gets beat now and again, and there's no denying that. And they'll put 2 players up against him. But that, to me, if they're putting 2 players up, that means that, that they know that he's a decent player and they've got to overrun him. But I just want to see him play in his proper position, because he's good. He can run with the ball. He can dribble. He can pass. He can do a lot of good things with that ball. But playing him so out of position, it just opens the lad up for criticism all the time. And, everybody loves to criticize our players, and it'll be the first one they'll criticize tonight. There'll be somebody will run past him, so all of a sudden he's a bad player. But look, the manager's obviously got that confidence in him. I mean, the problem is we haven't got anybody else to play there, really. But he's obviously got that confidence in him, and look, I just hope that we have a good game, and he comes out of it without too much criticism, because it doesn't matter what the lad does, people are going to criticize him, and that's just some of our fan base, unfortunately. And I mean, I can't remember who it was that was saying it. It could have been Ali Gold, but just say, let the lad pick his position and play there. But I suppose the other argument is, if he's happy to play anywhere, it shows that he's a versatile player. And yeah, I mean, like I said, the manager must have enough confidence to play in there, and otherwise he wouldn't be playing there, would it? So
yeah,
I just hope he has a good game. But other than that, perhaps Sarr, I think I've said it for a couple of years now. I think he's a brilliant player. Benton Kerr's kind of got to play because he can't play in the Prem. Kulu, what can you say about Kulu? What isn't there to say about Kulu? Johnson, Solanke, and Son, yeah, no surprises. I'm quite surprised that he started with Son and not Werner, and kept Son just in case we need somebody for Solanke. But again, look, Solanke, how good has he been this year? Again, work rate is unbelievable, and I just think, yeah, let's just go smash them. 3-0, full stop, end of game. No point playing.
Do you know what? On Gray, I think it is a testament to how good he is that he's filling in at full back and stuff. And look, I think many fans are with you, Sarr. In fact, I think 99% of the fans, if not 100% with you, that they do want to see him in midfield. That's originally what we bought him for. And I do think there is a future really good sort of CDM in there when I look on that fullback, yes, okay, sometimes he can get done on the outside and, the pace in the high line and stuff like that. But in possession, the guy is absolutely brilliant. He just does not, very rarely loses that ball, even under pressure. And I think it's testament to how good he really can be. I just think he's probably going to have to wait till next season, when you bring in maybe more defenders, more cover back across the back line, bring more shape to the squad. I think that's then when you will probably see him maybe get his minutes in the midfield. Kulusevski coming in there tonight. I'm really excited to see if he can sort of just lastly on Archie Gray, I also don't think he really matters where he plays, just as long as he's getting the minutes out there to put himself in front of Postecoglou's eye, the fans' eyes, and sort of showcase what he can do. And on Kulusevski, look, I'm absolutely buzzing to see him back in the middle. I think he was brilliant out on the right-hand side against Man City. And look, let's see if he can replicate it again through the middle tonight. I think, again, maybe he's gone with the physicality in midfield to try and earn the right to play and, get to grips with the game, the physical side, just like he done against Man City. And look, I'm really excited about that lineup tonight. I do think we could go out here, compete with Roma, and hopefully use our home advantage. And hopefully the confidence is flowing through us and playing them off the park and putting in another outstanding performance. But Dermot, what's your thoughts on the lineup, my man? Happy with it?
Yeah, I am. I've got to jump, Dave. So I'm very sorry. I've got to get me on the stream sorted. Sorry. Yeah, I'm very happy with the lineup. I'm glad he's gone strong. I think Archie Gray, just had my little thought on it. It shows the commitment for the young lad that he's willing to play anywhere, to be a team player. And I think, look, Archie Gray's a great player. He's a great signing, and he's going to be a great player for us. I think it's great to see Johnson there, the front three. I think it was right to start Sonny tonight. I think Sonny needs a bit of game time. And then bring Werner on like at Man City after 70 or 80 minutes and let Werner attack a very tired Roma defence. Look, I'm going for 4-0. I'm sticking to it. It's what I said in my channel prediction. I'm not backing down from that. I think we are going to batter them tonight. I think Roma play a very low block, and it's a strong team. And just going out there with the ambition of, right, we're going to win tonight. Let's nail this top 8 place in and get this sorted. And fair play to them. Many managers would have wilted. Many managers would have played a lower side, and it shows Ange's confidence in these players and his own ability as a manager and the squad he's got, that we can go out and win tonight. And that's what we should do. But yeah. I think it's great to see some of the kids on the bench. I hope we get to see some of them tonight, because we have got we've got a great conveyor belt coming through at the moment at Tottenham. We've got some good young talent, and you watch it more than any of us, Dave, so you know more about it than us three. And I just think it's great. So, yeah, great lineup. Tottenham win 4-0. I cannot wait.
Dermot.
This small Italian side.
Look, I think many fans would absolutely snap your hands off for another 4-0 win and send us into a different planet heading into the Fulham game. But guys, please get over, check out Dermot's channel, THFC Till I Die, growing his own Spurs channel over there. So please get over there, check it out, smash that subscribe button. And Dermot, thank you very much for your contribution this evening, my man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks again for having me on, Dave. I apologize to Drew at the beginning. He knows what it's about, but I didn't explain in the chat. So, yeah, it's been a bit stressful. But no, thank you all very much. And Dave, again, a legend. And please, everyone, subscribe here, because this is the guy that started me off on my YouTube journey.
Just say before you go, Derm, you're not going to leave us in suspense, are you?
Right. What it is, very quickly, I'm breaking it more on my own channel tomorrow, but very quickly, Amanda Staveley is the broker of this Qatari deal. Now, there's there's 3 bids gone in for Tottenham, 1 for the footballing side, 2 for full control. Amanda Staveley is the Qatari face for the Qatari deal. She will get shares out of this, but that's for the footballing side, if that goes true. Now, she would either sell some of her shares back to the people who buy Tottenham, or she'll keep a little bit to stay the face for the people that are buying into the footballing side. She wants Tottenham. The Qataris want Tottenham. They think Tottenham is one of the best London clubs for what we can offer. And also, she's willing to put in, whoever comes in, put in 500 million in her transfer budget. So that's sort of the latest, round that sort of ballpark figure. But that's sort of the latest I got. But I'm waiting on more news to come true. But that's what I'm hearing at the moment. That's what I'm allowed to say.
A possible full buyout as well, then.
Yeah, there's 3 offers gone in. I think, from my understanding, is 1 for the footballing side, like the Man United model, and 2 for a full takeover. But Levy's got to get So Levy's got to get the best deal for himself. But my own personal opinion, I think we're going to follow the Man United model, and someone's going to come and buy the footballing side and leave the business side. And I think that's what's going to happen myself personally. But, you know, I've got a lot more here. I'm waiting for confirmation before I can say more, but that's the bit I can say. And Dave, you know, if I get anything, you get some as well, man. So I want, you know, I'll give it over to you.
No, that's no hassle, lad. That's no hassle. Thank you very much for your time this evening, my man. I really appreciate you, buddy. We'll let you go and get off to your match day stuff yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much. And please, everyone, like and subscribe on Mr. Harris.
Pressure on you, Dermo. Better be true. You're getting a lot of Spurs fans excited here.
Well, look, I can only give what I'm given, and I can only give what I'm allowed to give. And not look, I've got some right, some wrong. I can only give what I get given. So, look, but please, Jack, happy Thanksgiving, and everyone, please like and subscribe here. And thank you again, Soren, Drew. It's been a pleasure as always. It's like my little match day family. These 4.
Nice.
It's what I look forward to every match day. So thanks a lot, guys.
Big up, Dermo.
See you later.
Bye-bye. Just Stu Greenhill here, he says, and I know, Soren, you sort of pointed down that. I think you like that comment. Says, evening, lads, do you not feel this is Ange training Archie in defensive positioning from when he takes a 6-role? Thoughts?
I hope it is. Look, there's 2 ways to look at it. Ange has come out and said he doesn't play with a number 6, which we seem to be seeing. And then you go by a player that we know is versatile, but is a number 6. So I just hope long term we play this kid in his strongest position, which is as a sort of holding midfielder. But look, anybody that's seen him play for Leeds, anybody that's actually watched him play for Tottenham, and not just as a critical watch, but actually watched what he does, he can see a pass, he can run with the ball, his feet are quick, his feet, you know, he has good tactical knowledge, and he can play with the ball. And we've just got to give him a chance. He's 18 years old. And look, you know, I mean, I've said from the day we signed him that I think it's a great signing, and I think he's one for the future, and I think he will be a big player for Tottenham given the right opportunities. We've seen before where we get these players and we don't do the right thing by them. I just hope that with this lad and with Bergvall and, you know, all the other youngsters we've got, we do it the right way. And yeah, you know, I mean, it's frustrating to sit here and say, oh, he's playing left back again, he's playing right back again, he's playing centre back. You know, let's just hope that there is a reason behind it, and it's not just because we've got no other options. I just hope it is like a training exercise for him, that you're coming into the Premiership. Yes, we might not be able to play you in your right position, but we are going to give you the experience. We are going to get you tactically up to date with what you need to do, and long term it might benefit him. Obviously, for a fan to watch him, you kind of just think, I hope it doesn't destroy him playing out of position all the time. But I just see good things for him, and I just think there's a great future for this lad. I really do.
No, I think, look, he's certainly a very, very exciting prospect, and, you know, it'll be very interesting to see how he develops. And look, Ajax is famous for it in their academy. A lot of their players play in different positions throughout coming through to get used to what people are looking for in other positions. So when you're in position, you have the ultimate sort of understanding of where everybody should be and what they should be doing around you, and, you know, the sort of balls they like to receive and that sort of stuff. And the hope is that it makes you a better player. So hopefully it's the case when it comes to Archie Gray. Big up, Stu. Thomas has sent in a stupid sticker just saying he absolutely loves us. So really appreciate that, Thomas. I'm glad you've enjoyed the show, my man. Peter Gates has gifted out 2 channel memberships. Sorry, the YouTube chat won't let me go back up to find out who the first one was, but the second one is the lucky recipient is where is it? is Carm Janju. So, Carm, make sure you say thank you to Peter and big up Peter. Really appreciate support. Very generous of you. And DJ Samuel has also sent in a super sticker with the hype emoji. I think it says hype anyway. I'm a bit blind today, DJ Samuel. I think I'm going colorblind and losing my vision, my man. I need to wear glasses. But really appreciate the support, lad. And thank you very, very much. Guys, I suppose, look, we'll just get your score predictions. Any last words? And we'll call it an evening and let you go and get a nice bit of grub and maybe a beer before the game. So, Soren, score prediction and any final words, lad?
Going 3-0. I'm going Solanke to score one. Hopefully, Brennan Johnson to score one. And probably Kulu to score one. Forster's going to keep a clean sheet. We're going to play slightly 10 yards further back. We're going to play, look, just leave me alone. Leave me alone. I can dream. Gray's going to be man of the match at left back. And after the game, we're all going to be happy apart from the odd few who just want to moan anyway. So come on, you Spurs. 3-0. Let's march on to another game in Europe.
Oh, absolutely love that. I'm absolutely pumped. I can't wait. I love European football. Alberto's singing right up your street here, Drew. He's put He's put Johnson on the scoreline, my man. What's your score prediction? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I'll take that. As I said, I think, I'm going to go for either a 2-0 or a 3-1. I think, I'm hesitant, as I said earlier, to give my predictions now because I always feel like I jinx this in some way. I'm sure I don't, but yeah, I think it's going to be a good one tonight either way. Under the lights, White Hart Lane, New Hart Lane, New White Lane, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But it's going to be a good one, and it's always a pleasure to chat to you, gentlemen. Always a pleasure to interact with the chat. Big up. Make sure you do smash a like before you leave, because these fellas do put in a lot of work. Big up, Sean. It's the Spurs Talk Show. Cheeky little 2-1.
He must know what to come on. I texted him asking him, did he want to join us when he was in the chat?
I think he's still sick. Poor lad. He can't
He's
break
got
at the
flu.
moment.
Yeah, what am I talking about? Sorry about that. Yeah.
It's all good. That's it. Big up, everyone. Well done. Nice.
No, fair play. Well, look, guys. I don't know why I've just had like 4-1 in the back of my brain all week, so I'm gonna go with that. Probably won't be. Probably end up 2-1. Be a very tight affair, cagey affair. Might struggle to break them down for large periods, but hopefully we can just have enough, get the job done tonight, and build that momentum heading into Fulham at the weekend. And a win tonight would really, cement us inside that top 8 with a few away games on the horizon. But look, I'm going to let everybody go and get a meal, go and get a drink, get ready for the big game tonight under the lights. I want to say a massive thank you to Dermot for giving up his time. These two boys are swell, Soren and Drew. Really appreciate it, boys. And a lot of people really enjoy your contributions on these pre-match shows. So thank you very much. Really, really appreciate it. You bring great and fascinating conversation. And you know what? You bring stuff that I don't always agree with, which I do like, so I absolutely love the conversation. So thank you very much, boys. I want to say a massive thank you to all of you lot out home that tune in and listen to what we have to say. If there was nobody listening, it'd be quite boring, wouldn't it? And it'd be pointless. So I appreciate every single one of you out there. And lastly, everyone who's gone the extra mile today to help support Kaylee Davies, Lumpy, Inakoma, Thomas, Peter, and we also have DJ Samuel. Some of you has done it multiple. Really appreciate the support, guys. So guys, watch long. We'll be here at 7:30. So I'll see you then for it. Go on, Drew.
You don't need to do a cheeky little plug for NordVPN, do you, both, before we leave?
Yes, I do, actually. Sorry, guys. Don't go anywhere. Just give me a momento. But, guys, do get on the NordVPN, everybody. Just bear with me. They have been kind enough to sponsor us for last month and the month of December to help support you guys out there, the Spurs fan base, because that subscription fees are quite high for everybody, especially the ones on the side of the planet where I live. And it's just nice and handy having the options to be able to explore the internet in a safe and secure manner. And that's exactly what NordVPN helps me with, and they're here to try and help you with as well. Help try and save you a couple of bucks leading up to Christmas. With NordVPN, it basically, for anybody that doesn't know, it allows you to be able to change your location. If I want, I could put myself beside Jack in Seattle and I can avail of some of the cheaper services that are on offer to him out there, all while my details, my banking details, etc. is secured. It's not only for that, you can book holidays and all that sort of good jazz with it. Also, no buffering with the NordVPN, which I think is absolutely crucial. Many times I watch streams and the buffering drives me absolutely crazy. Sometimes there's a goal, I'm stuck there looking at it buffering and my phone's going off, and it used to drive me absolutely insane. So having a no buffering with it is absolutely brilliant, along with the band throttling. And the most important thing, guys, is, you know, usually when you buy VPNs, you're only allowed one per device. This one you can use across 10 devices. So you and the whole family, you can look for cheaper subscriptions for absolutely everybody. It seems to be the modern way of streaming, shopping, and all that sort of good jazz. So I want to say thank you to NordVPN. And if you do want to avail of it, and it does sound good, and I've sold it to you guys, simply just click on the link in the description, or it's in the description, or in the chat, or it's in the description below. Get over there and get the best offer available to you. So, thank you, NordVPN, for the partnership. Really do appreciate it. And I know there's many Spurs fans out there that have availed of it and also appreciate it. So, guys, thank you very much. But that's it from us. We will see you back here for the watch along at 7:30. Make sure you're there. It's a big night under the lights. Roma coming to town. Let's go.